Find the perimeter of the given figure. Alright, so we have a figure given to us which appears to be very complicated, but before we move on, let's break it into the simplest possible figures we can. So looking at the figure, I know that this is a semicircle, and so is this. So we have two semicircles. Now this large shape in between clearly appears to be a rectangle. So this shape that is given to us is essentially made up of one rectangle and two semicircles. Now since we've established that, let's move on to finding the perimeter of this shape. Now remember that a perimeter is different than the area in the sense that the area is the space covered by any object, but the perimeter is the outer boundaries of a shape, which means the boundaries that we can see. So let's suppose that this figure given to us was a 3D shape and it was standing erect. We wouldn't have been able to see these lines. The only lines that would have appeared to us were this and this and this and this. So the two semi-arcs and the lengths of the rectangle is all that we would have seen. So keeping that in mind, let's find out the perimeter of this figure. So since we have already broken this down into simpler figures, and we've identified that these two are semicircles, right? So let's find out the perimeter of the arcs first. We're going to find the perimeter of one arc, and then we can multiply it by 2 so that we have the perimeter of both the arcs. Now remember that the formula for the perimeter of a semicircle is perimeter of a semicircle, S means semi, is half pi d plus d. Sorry, oops, that's a d. But notice how I've written down the perimeter of the arc here in place of the semicircle. That's because we're not going to consider these diameters, because they're not a part of the perimeter. So the area of the formula for the perimeter of the arc is half pi d. We leave out this d because it's not required. Let's plug in the values. We'll keep pi as it is, and the diameter is 2, so we cancel out 2 and we're left with 3.14. And we'll multiply this by 2 since there are two arcs. So we multiply this 2 by 2 and we're left with 6.28. So this is done. Now we need to add the length of this and the length of this, which happens to be 14 for both of them. So 6.28 plus 14 gives us 6.28 plus 28, which gives us 28 plus 6 is 34.28. If we round it off, we are left with 34.3 centimeters. So the perimeter of this given figure comes out to be 34.3 centimeters. Simple, right?